Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a little project for you today. I'm going to be starting to work on a junk journal that I want to create. I always have to the side of me when I'm working, I have a craft cart that I have a bunch of projects that are sort of in the works, projects that I want to do. And this has been one that has just been sitting there for a while and I just really want to get it finished. And it started out, I keep keeping all of the bits and pieces in this bag. I got this actually from Lori at By the Wolf Garage. These are hand sewn, beautiful. This is some Tim Holtz fabric. I'll show you the inside too. So she may have some pouches still in the shop. I didn't think to check, but this is just how I'm storing my little projects that are sort of in process over on my cart. And so what really inspired this whole journal that I wanted to make was this particular image. This is a vintage page that I got in House of Books subscription months ago. I've just been holding on to it, and I thought I would make a journal cover out of it. So I actually backed it on some like heavy cardstock, but then I realized it's not going to work that way, so I'm going to have to kind of change that just a little bit. But this is actually the inspiration, this whole kind of botanical and yellow theme. I just love this image for some reason. I don't know, I just really liked it. So what I have done is I've already created the journal cover. This was actually using some vintage fabric that I got from a House of Books as well. They do from time to time have vintage fabrics, and they are kind of regularly adding new things and stuff. So be sure to check. You can also, get a subscription for vintage ephemera there, but you can also buy things a la carte. This was an a la carte fabric, but I have started making the cover. I have not done the inside yet because I'm not exactly sure how I want to bind this journal together. If I bind straight into the spine, that's fine. It'll go through the fabric, and that'll be fine too. But I also thought maybe I would want to do like a hidden spine, but I'm not quite sure yet, so that's why I haven't like lined the inside or whatever yet, but I have the start of it. So this was kind of the whole inspiration behind this journal, are kind of was this image and this fabric. So I have pulled a few things already to go with this. I have some papers and things. I just thought I would show you what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I will do this whole project on film. Let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in seeing, it kind of in parts, how it comes together. But I definitely just want to at least get started with it. So I do have some coffee dyed paper. Obviously these are going to have to be cut down. I have some other pieces that have just been in my stash forever. I love this postcard, and I just put it on some craft paper so that I can make this into like a tuck spot, like journaling card. And I've had this forever as well. It just felt like it went really well. And then I also have some papers here from 49 in Market. This is the Curator Meadow paper collection, and I also have their ephemera pack. And so these are like the die cut pieces, and I really just feel like all of this is going to go really well together for this kind of botanical theme for this journal. And then I have some other just stickers that I've accumulated, and I have just kind of been pulling them out as I would find things. I would, just tuck them into that little bag. And then I have some dictionary page and some index paper. These obviously will be cut down as well. They're pretty big. I have some Tomoe River paper. This is a coated paper. This is just a lot of fun to work with. You can, it actually holds color really well. Like you can, it gets crinkly, but you can do like watercolor and that kind of stuff on it. It's fun paper. I have some Tim Holtz papers as well. These are some of the backdrops. Obviously these are going to be because the images are vertical, I don't really want to turn them, and I'm weird about that with some things. But I do have an idea for how I can piece these together to make them like in the signature. Otherwise, I'll just use them for ephemera. And then I have just some other random pages that I'll be adding in and everything. But I just thought I would take you along for the ride as this kind of journal comes to fruition. I don't have a process for this particular cover. I will say that I did use a product called Heat and Bond, where you just iron it onto the fabric, and then I ironed that onto this chipboard, which is actually just a box, because if you've watched my channel at all, I save my boxes for things like this. I do have other videos where I have shown that process though, so I will link the playlist of my journal tutorials down below, and you can go through there and see. But I have done that before, but it's a really simple process. Of course, there's a million ways to make a cover. So, but anyway, that's how I did this particular one. I just didn't do it on camera. But with that, I think I'm just going to put you on fast forward, and I'm going to get started, and we'll see where we get to for this particular day. And then let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more of how this journal comes together. Okay, so I'm going to clear all of this off to the side here, and I want to go through this 49 in market paper. Just want to kind of show you what all is in here. Some of the pages have the kind of green and yellow. Others of them are a little bit more like the grays and blues, and so I'm just kind of pulling those out. They have beautiful papers. Some have like mushrooms and stuff on them, but that's just really not the look that I am going for. So I just pulled a couple of the pages that I thought would work, and I apologize that most of that is not on screen because they're 12 by 12 paper. So anyway, the first thing I'm gonna do here is kind of sort through these papers into my two piles for my two signatures, just making sure I have one of each for each signature that I want to do, and then adding my coffee dyed paper in here, and then I will trim all this down after I've just kind of made my piles and made sure that I have everything. I do have this paper. I got this from an Etsy shop, and I believe she said it was onion skin paper. I may have that wrong. But it's just a really neat texture. And so I'm just going to tear this down. It's already kind of folded in some, pretty heavily creased. So I'm just going to take advantage of that and use it for, in my signature. So it's going to be not quite as wide as I want it, but I like having different sizes and widths and heights of my paper in my journals. So, I'm just going to use those as they're going to be a little bit more narrow, but that's okay. This is that 49 in market paper. I'm going to start with cutting off the branding strip, but I'm going to save that branding strip because on the back side it's printed and you can use that as a layer. I love it when companies do that with their branding strips. And then I'm going to fiddle with this for a second and try and figure out how I want to cut this. In the end, what I decided to do, since it's a 12 by 12 piece of paper, I'm just going to cut it at 6 inches, which is a little bit shorter than what I would want it to be for my signature, but I will just, it'll just be one of the shorter pages in there, which is fine. But I wanted to be able to get 2 sheets out of each one of these pages. So I am cutting them at 6 inches, and then I'm cutting them again at 10 so that they'll be 5 inches wide when they're folded. Again, cutting off the branding strip down here at the bottom. This one has some neat stitching on the back side of it, so that's pretty cute. And then this 49 in market paper is really, really thick paper. I am going to really quickly here, I have to measure my cover because I forgot how wide it was. So I want to make sure that my papers are going to fit. So I'm cutting a couple inches off of each of these papers. Just so that they're good. And I'm going to save all of those little scraps that I'm cutting off because I can make tags. That's a 2-inch paper there that I can make a little skinny tag out of, or some ephemera or whatever. So all that will go back into my little bag for ephemera later on. And then this is the only time I'm going to do this with these signatures, but I am going to use my scoring board to score these because this paper is super, super thick. It's regular cards, it's patterned cardstock, but I mean, it's really, really thick paper, good quality paper. And so I just want to make sure that it doesn't crack or tear or anything. So I'm going to use my scoring tool here. If you don't have one of these, a scoreboard, you can certainly use a trimmer, especially if you have one that has like a ridge in it. You can just use the back, like the dull side of your scissors or whatever, and score it that way. You can also use like the edge of a ruler and kind of just bend it up a little bit. There's a lot of different ways that you can score something without a scoring tool. I just happen to have one, so it's easier. And I didn't do it on all of these pages. I really only did it on these ones that were just super, super heavyweight. So now I'm just going to go through here and kind of fold everything. And again, the 49 in market papers are 6 inches tall, but I really want some of my pages to be 6.5 inches tall. That's about the highest that I want with my 7-inch cover. I do want to leave a little bit of room on top and bottom, but So I'm just kind of measuring that with a ruler, and then here I'm just going to tear this. I'm not going to use my paper trimmer. This is thinner paper, so that was no problem. And I'm, again, saving all of the little scraps and everything, but I'm just kind of measuring, making sure everything is the size that I want it. And I'm just going to go through and tear it. I like those rough edges. I think that's part of what makes a junk journal is having some of those textures. I like different weights of paper. I like different textures, just all the different things. So these papers that are just kind of coffee dyed regular, I'm going to go ahead and trim those down to basically they're going to be 6.5 by 10, and then when they're folded they'll be 6.5 by 5, and that will fit in my journal. I'm just going to get everything together, and then I will be back. Okay, so I have finished assembling my 2 signatures, and I thought I would just flip through and kind of show you what I ended up with and settled on for the papers that are going inside. I added some, these are just craft, like scrapbooking papers on the outside of here, because on the outside of each of these signatures, on this front one, I'm going to be adding this image. This was kind of the whole, inspiration for this journal, so I want that to be on the first page. And then this one, I'm going to add a Tim Holtz background. I'm just going to trim this down and then add this right on the front, just to add in some more of that yellow. And also, this is not maybe my favorite pattern, but I did like the color, and I wanted to have something a little bit sturdy on the outside of the signatures as well. So I'm just going to flip through this first signature so you can kind of get an idea for what's inside. The papers are essentially the same with the exception of the pattern of the 49 and Market paper. So I have this cardstock one. I have this beautiful coffee dyed paper. I have the Tomo River paper. I found some vintage ledger in my stash. This is the 49 and Market paper. Some coffee dye. This is some beautiful braille paper that a sweet friend sent to me, and it's just awesome. So I love having that. This is that green oilskin. This is just some vintage paper. It's got like indexes and stuff on it. It just makes a good backdrop. This is some more coffee dyed paper. Dictionary page. I have another sheet of the Tomo River paper, and then this is just a craft dot grid paper, and then back to the 49 and Market. So they're all a little bit different in size. That's kind of how I like to do my my journals. And I am going to just stick with the 2 signatures because I feel like once I get those in here in my journal and get them sewn in, and then I start adding the pockets and the things to fill the pockets, I feel like it's going to get pretty chunky pretty fast. And so I want to make sure that there's plenty of room without it, opening up too much. So that is how my signatures are going to look. And then I did pull out a few other things as I was making those that I may or may not add in. I'll probably make some ephemera or something with, but these are just some vintage book pages from my House of Books subscription. And so I have a bunch of floral ones, so I may just kind of cut out some of these, or fussy cut some of the like yellow and green ones, or some of these that I just find interesting, use them to kind of decorate or create some ephemera or some pockets or some tags or whatever. So I pulled out a bunch of these that I have just had in my stash. I think this one would make a neat belly band or tuck spot or whatever. It might be just a little bit too tall, but I'll have to see. The scale might be just a little bit wrong on these, but these beautiful patinaed pages are just fun. And I really loved this. It's like just a glossy book page, but I love this image. I think it's really beautiful. And then this is actually a paper from By the Will for God. I may use this to make a little bit of ephemera. And then I thought this one was so cute with the little bees. I don't know if I can get this one to work, but we'll see. And then these might be just too big, but I did go ahead and just pull them out, so I have them. So that's kind of everything for now. I don't want to make this video too long. I will probably do a video where I'm making some ephemera and maybe sewing in the pockets and everything, or sewing in the signature, sorry. So if you would like to see more for this process video for this particular journal, leave me a comment down in the comments, and just kind of let me know. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to leave those down below. If you are new to my channel, I have just recently gotten quite a few new subscribers, so thank you for being here. I'm excited that you're here. Any questions, like I said, leave them down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and until next time, bye.